Hello, traders. I'm going to give you my hypos for next week. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. Um, this is a weekly chart. Nasdaq, MNQ. One thing I see right away on a weekly chart is a volume imbalance right here. Okay, look at that level, 411 to 365, so a little over 50 points. And we also have this weekly high looming out here. If you look at that weekly chart as though it were a 15-minute chart or 1-minute chart, I would think that this level is going to get taken. And then we would see some sort of a pullback. Now, so that's my immediate thought. We're bullish. This level is on the table for next week for sure. The high of this candle is 538. Do we typically go straight up? This is quite a run from last week. No, we typically do not. We usually have a little pullback. So we just wicked into a fair value gap on the daily chart. If we were to pull back, I would say let's just mark this whole week out. If we're still extremely bullish, 25% pullback would be what I would expect. That is 1987.75. You can mark it out if you want to. We'll just put a yellow line there, and we'll label it 25% of week. It's actually, I guess, 75%. 25% of week. That would be a 25% retrace. 25% retrace. Okay. So then we can also copy that, and we'll mark one more at the 50%. If we're really going to pull back, we would do it to the 50%. But to remain bullish, we would have to stay above this 50% mark. So I don't see us trading down into here because I do think we're going to remain bullish. But I've also learned the market doesn't care what I think. So we just have to watch it, wait for those reversal points, and act accordingly. But if I was going to say this is what we're going to do, I would say this is what we're going to do. Now, there is another interesting thing you can do on the fib. Let's just do this from the bottom up. No, that's the wrong direction. Let me get rid of it. We'll go from the top down, where the 1 will be up here at the top, just like that. And then if we do an extension of this guy, we put in a 25% extension. Let's see where that ends up being. Right above that wick. That is very interesting, isn't it? Okay, so yeah, I'm really confident that we're going to work up that way at least at some point this week. And then we could pull back from there. So you could mark that, or you just mark that as a high for the next weekly high. Weekly buy side would be a good label for it. Let me make sure I got the candle height right here. The high, if you look up here, it'll tell you the high of that candle. You just hover over it. 2053.675. Make sure our coordinates are correct. 2053.675. We're just going to type it in. There we go. There we go. Now it's exactly right. Okay, so that I like the way that corresponds well, and this volume imbalance being traded into. So that hypo number 1, or hypo, I think we're heading there this week. I'm just going to go ahead and say that's what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think. We can only do what the chart is telling us to do. So pull back possibly 25% of last week's range, or 50% of last week's range if we're feeling a little bit bearish, and then aim for this high. That's my hypo for the entire week. How it unfolds, how it transpires, does it take to Friday to get here? I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking we're going to trade to this week. We go to a daily chart. This level on the retrace, look at this. Daily chart, fair value gap. Bottom of that fair value gap is 50% of the week. We could come fill this in before aiming higher. So I would not buy on Monday expecting it to hit that high, but it might hit that high and then pull back to here. We just don't know. All we can do is just get a hypo and see what happens. And it's good to do this. Look at the larger time frames on the weekend and kind of get a plan for the week. If we trade up, we're going to trade into here. If we trade down, probably going to come to about right here. The base of this fair value gap, I like the fact that it is 50% of last week's range. So I think that's going to be a draw as well. So that's my hypo. I do not want this to be a 50-minute video, so I'm going to stop it right there. Good luck trading this weekend. Love each and every one of you. Remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to everybody else too. Show everybody that the grace that you would show yourself. You know, don't beat yourself up and don't beat anybody else up either. We're all human. We all make mistakes. So, till next time, trade well.